sunshines, how art thou? This is Creative Stitching Diva, and I'm that Graphghan queen. Been doing it for 10 years. So if you want any question, if you have any questions that you need me to answer for you, and I could do it on a video, I will definitely do that. Just leave your comments, hit me up, and I will take care of that for you. So this is another requested video that I am doing to show how you can make your Graphghan a little bit better, cleaner, clearer, so that your project is going to be phenomenal, and you will have no worries in receiving the money. Okay, honey. All right, so this is purely based off of my experience on doing a Graphghan. I cannot talk for any other graphers or anyone else who do a Graphghan. That's clearly their decision on what they want to do and how they do it, because there's no right or wrong way to do a Graphghan. There's no right or wrong way of crocheting. It's art. So however you feel comfortable and however you want to do your Graphghan and however you want your project to come out, that's up to you. So if you don't agree with this, it's okay. I'm going to still live my sunshines. It's okay. You don't have to agree with how I do mine. But if you want to adapt a couple of little things that you may think that may change yours and make yours project a little bit better, then that's what this is for. If not, then okay, so one things that everyone do not understand is your graph. Your graph needs to be a good graph. If you do not have a good graph, you will have a problem having a clean and clear Graphghan. When I do my classes and tutorials, that is the number one thing that I say: good graph. So understand what is a good graph and understand what is a bad graph. Understand that this is very crucial, because you could be the perfect crocheter, been crocheting for 20, 50 years. If you do not have a good graph, it's just not going to look good. I can say so myself. I came up with so many, like, I just knew I was the perfect crocheter. I knew that my crocheting was superb. I knew how to have crisp and clean edges, and then it looked crappy. I can't tell you how many times I thought, like, what's wrong with me? Why is my stuff coming out blurry? Why can't I see what I am doing? And that is the reason. It was not a good graph. Example, I'm going to show you an example of how I started realizing that my graphs were just not great. So I had a customer who purchased this for her granddaughter, and she gave me the granddaughter's name. To be honest with you, I could barely see it to even remember. This was like 8 years ago. But when I showed this to her, the first thing she said was, "It's beautiful. Beautiful." I can't see my name, but you know, it's beautiful. That kind of like hit me, because I'm like, what do you mean you can't see? What she meant was her last name. The last name, I believe, was Doherty. You can't see it. The name on here, I believe, is Sophia Lynn Doherty. Yeah, you can't really see. I came into another snafu that I had to kind of sort of change my ways about, and that was when I did another one. And then that one was a Graphghan that I decided to do for another customer who wanted it for a baby. And they thought that my work was pretty good back then, right? Well, we had like a little issue with clarity again, because back then I didn't have the Graphghan. I didn't do any graphing at that time. what I did was go on Pinterest and looked up the next best thing, which is those freebies that you find on the internet, right? Some of them are called parlor bead graphs. Some of them are just boxes with pictures on it, and that's what I did. So what I did was I took the bottom piece, which said heat, and then I did that, and then I added the top piece, which was the logo. Now, if you can look right there at the logo, you can see that the clarity is not great. She said yeah, it looks like it's kind of like holes in there. And then I have the best mentors ever, and I have one mentor, Nettie, who helped me identify what I was doing wrong. And what I was doing wrong was choosing graphs that had these unconnected lines. I'm gonna show you that really quick on how identifying unconnected lines can help you identifying what a good graph and what a bad graph is. And that can be your go-to source for having a good finalized product. The image is going to come out just like how you are importing your image. So if the image have a whole bunch of different colors, it's going to come out just like that. So when you have that and you do not clean it up correctly, it may tend to turn out like this picture. You have not only unconnected lines, but you have different colors where they don't need to be. And that could be because there may be a fade in the picture, or it may be an imperfection in the picture. It may be some areas that are shaded and some areas that are not shaded. Yes, this is what's going to happen. So if you wanted to do a portrait and you're wondering why your portrait is not looking clean and clear and you can't really see the face and it's fuzzy, this can be because you have so many different colorations in there and you didn't clean it up correctly. And this is what happens. This is an unconnected line graph. This is a graph that has lines that are not connected. Now, they may be connected from corner to corner, but when you crochet, it's going to look like it has gaps in it. As you can see, the finalized picture at the top, there is gaps. And the gaps is what can cause your image to look like it's a little blurry. So that is one thing that you might want to take into consideration when purchasing your graphs, or when you're crocheting, well, when you're graphing your graphs. Take into consideration that you may have this going on, and this is a cause of your image being blurry. This is not a good graph. Yeah, many may say it is, but it's not. If you look around the eyes over here on the left, it's not a great graph because there's so many unconnected lines. Those lines should go right through, so they could be a nice little area of where there should be just straight white. And there is areas that are not closed. There's areas that is not fully connect. The next one is a good color change. I have many videos on how to do color changing. It depends on your preference on what kind of color change you want to do. I personally do my color changing, which is my pop, lock, and drop. You could do the pop, lock, and drop. And the pop, lock, and drop is basically my way of trying to putting your stitch in, locking it in there, and then making sure that when it's locked in there, you're dropping that color to the back. And then when you turn around and it's and then the back is facing you, you're going to drop the strings to, it's going to be the back of your work, but it's going to be towards you. So I have videos on showing you on how to do that. Just check that out so that you can know how to do a good color change. Now, if pop, lock, and drop is not for you, there's other ways of doing it. I do have other videos, and I'm going to do a shorter video soon. didn't do it yet, but there's a longer video that shows you different ways of doing different color changes. Following a Graphghan correctly can be something that a new beginner may have some issues with. So what you need to do is maybe go over video that I have that teaches you how to start your Graphghan. When you are starting your Graphghan, you want to make sure that you start off correctly with your foundation. Not only are you starting your Graphghan correctly, you want to make sure that you're following it correctly. So if you have a problem with following the actual boxes, then maybe you want to do a written instruction. So you can request that with us, Creative Stitching Diva, and Graphghans and the Restless and Graphghan University. If you are in those groups of mine on Facebook, or you can go on my Etsy page. Everything is down in the description. Go on my Etsy page, and if there is not one already there, you can request it. And when you request it, it will take 24 to 48 hours for us to produce your written instructions. I usually send both. You will have the PDF and the written instructions. That way you could go over both. But some just like the written instructions, some just like the graph, and both may be able to help you. Whatever you do, do not carry that yarn. This is not tapestry crochet. This is Graphghanning. Graphghanning is a little bit different because you want to make an Afghan. You want to be able to make something that can be a nice comfortable blanket or a tote bag or something that you do not want to be really, really stiff. A pillow, you don't want it to be too stiff. With tapestry crochet, you are carrying those colors, all of the yarn that you are using, you're carrying it the whole entire way. So when you do that, it may be a little bit thick and a little bit heavy, but the number one thing that I have a problem with is you can see the carrying of the colorations, and you don't want perfect example of carrying your yarn is something that I did in that heat blanket, and this could be why she just didn't like those color changing. You can see the not only can you see the color changing, you can see the places where you have unconnected lines, and you can see the places where I did the carrying of the colors, the colorations. This is an example of a do not do, which is like already what I spoke about when it comes to having a good graph, because that was not a good graph. The color changing was not great because, as you can see, I have when you're changing from the old color to the new color, I have that there. You can see it. And then you have the carrying the colors through your work. That is not Graphghanning. It's actually called tapestry. So if you wanted to do tapestry crochet, you may want to do it however way you want. This is that example, and you carry your colors. I personally, even with tapestry crochet, in my mind, think that I just want it to look so good that I don't want to carry those colors. So that is something that I decided not to do. You could do whatever you want. And sometimes I think what it is it's comfortable for some people to carry the colors instead of changing the colors. The thing that you are going to have to understand is you're going to see those colors. And but if that's okay with you, if you want to do like a basket or something that is real sturdy and heavy, tapestry crochet is best. And Yay for Yarn have some videos on there that you can go and check out, and you can definitely get your tapestry crochet on. But if you want to do Graphghanning, the best thing to do for Graphghanning is to drop those colors, add that new color, and changing those colors perfect. Another great idea that you want to do to make sure that your Graphghan is perfecto, that is making sure that the perfect stitch for you will work. Now, I in the beginning was doing single crochet all the time, and then I realized it's just still not working for me. I found out that my single crochet is just not as great. I found that my single crochet, I was slow. I was not as quick. I decided to do half double crochets. So for now on, I do half double crochets. There's a good benefit of half double crochets. First of all, I am quicker. And second of all, it makes your project a little bit larger. So if you want to like sneak in a little bit of height, half double crochet. I actually do the extended version because of my pop, lock, and drop. So it's a little bit more. And that makes your finalized product a little bit larger. Now, for you, you may not want to do half double crochet. Half double crochet may not be your thing. You may do single crochet or Tunisian crochet. Whatever you like, you can do those. I just want you to know that double crochet is not great for some products. You could do double crochet. Sometimes I don't advise it. It will distort your image. It may not look good, and it's a longer version of stitches. So your graph or your image is going to be longer, and the size that you may want it to be may not be that size. You may want a square, but it's going to make more of a rectangle. So be careful with that. Single crochet, half double crochet, and Tunisian crochet is my go-to stitches, but my favorite to-go stitch is for my blanket is the half double crochet, and for my scarf and tote bags and pillows, I do Tunisian crochet. So find out what is your preference, what you would like to do, and what is more comfortable, what is easier, what is allowing you to go as smooth as possible, what is allowing you to change your colors as great as you can. That is what you have to take into consideration. Trial and error. Keep trying, and you will be perfecto in me. I had to realize this, and it was too late. Yeah, I did a blanket that was like way big, and it had so many different color changing, and I just so happened to have yarn to fit the different color changing. I also wanted to make it look as realistic as possible. So I use a type of yarn that I couldn't find in any of the regular yarns. At the time, I think I was using Red Heart. Now I use Big Twist. I have a video for that as well. But I have a video as well for why I use Big Twist and how yarn, using your different types of yarn and yarn brands can help with your product. But what you have to also think about is the yarn weight. Having your work look good is basically the yarn weight. You want to make sure that the weight of your yarn is the same exact weight, because if it's not, it will cause holes in your product. I would crochet this, which is a regular 4-weight yarn, but this is regular 4-weight yarn. The thing about it is this is softer. So because this one is softer, this is the Quran Simply Soft. No, it's not. It's loops. Soft and shiny loops and threads. And then this one is Big Twist. So when you're crocheting with the Big Twist, which is a little bit more heavier, this will tend to crave in. So when you're doing your stitches on each row, this may start to shrink in a little bit, leaving a gap in your work. You do not want gaps in your work. You don't want little holes in your work, and it may not do a color change just as good as you may want it. So that could be a reason why your work is not as perfecto. Another thing that I had to learn, and this was like damn near recently, this was like maybe in the past 2 to 3 years, I found out that my hook made a difference. My hook made a difference in the way I crocheted my product, the way I was able to go faster, the way that I was able to change my colors, the smoother your hook is, the smoother the way you're able to crochet and glide through the yarn, that makes a difference. Okay, so what I realized that I use clover hooks. I used to use Susan Bates hooks, and before that I used to use Boy. Before that I used any hook that I could get my hand on. A regular generic one, this could be like 89 cents or $1 or something like that. I would use a regular generic one, but it doesn't matter. Whatever is comfortable for you. But this is how I found out that my hook made a difference. I had a really good friend gift me some furl hooks, and furl hooks was like, it was a changing the game. The thing about it is, with the furl hooks, I only use the Odyssey ones. I never used any other ones. And the Odyssey, for me, I had a problem with it. And that was something that it wasn't a no, I wasn't going to use it ever again. It was more so of, I didn't like the fact that it broke. And I had like 3 of them and they kind of broke. And I think it was because I was using it too much. But if you're going to pay for a $60 hook, you don't want it to break. The thing about with furl, they did replace it ASAP. It happened again. So I don't want to bash them. I just want to explain the reason why I decided to use clover. So my good girl, Gail, she decided to check out clover. And when she checked it out, she said, I need you to check this out. So I did. And I realized, O to the M to the G, I was able to crochet so quickly and smooth. You don't understand how well it glides. It was gliding through this yarn like no other. And there was no skipation, like when you have to like basically force your way through. Now, this is the same exact hook, same exact size, but this one I had in my bag. Now, when I had this in my bag, what happened was a little bit of my lip gloss got on it. My lip gloss opened and it got on it, and I didn't realize that. So when I was using it to crochet, I realized that it felt funny. And I'm like, why do it feel so funny? Like, it just kept like, it just like sticky, like it was sticking to the yarn. So what I decided to do was I just took a wipey and I wiped it, right? Wiped it and then just let it dry for a little minute. And then I decided to wipe my hand, because we don't realize, my crochet mentor always told me, always wash your hands when you crochet. Wash your hands. And then when I wash my hands, I realized that my hands get real ashy really quickly. So after I wash my hands, the first thing I do is put lotion on. So I put lotion on my hands. And then when you put the lotion on your hands, you're not realizing that when you're holding your yarn, some of that may get onto your yarn. And when it gets onto your yarn and as you're crocheting, it may leave residue on your hook. So through trial and error, I realized that I do not have to stop putting lotion on. I just needed to find the right hook that was going to be able to handle it, right? Now, I also noticed that do not put a whole lot of lotion on. I only put enough to just make sure that my hands are not going to be ashy. I cannot crochet with ashy hands. So that's another reason why I decided to do this. And I also realized that my hook was nice. My hook was good. But when I used the generic one, no matter what I did, no matter how much I wiped, it still was like a static. So when it comes to hooks, just make sure you be careful with that and trial and error. Find out what hook is best for you, which one you're able to crochet quicker, which one you're able to do a smooth color change. And my go-to, like I said, is clover hooks. You could try that. It's a little bit more expensive, but I'd rather pay for the more expensive than to have the staticky hooks that I'm going to not be able to make my money back, because everything I buy for my business, I make that money back. So if I need to crochet a little bit quicker and make it look good and then be able to maximize my finances, I'm going to do that. And I was able to buy 4 sets of clover on just one product. So just invest in yourself. Invest in, you know how we like to get our hair done, right? You know how we like to get our nails done, right? You know how you like to look good and you want to pay top of the line to look good makeup because you don't want it to crack your skin. That's the same way as yarn. That's the same way as our hook. We want it to look good. We want it to feel good, and you want your customers to be happy. So you have to make it go all the way around between you, your yarn, your hook, and how happy your customer is going to be. Last but not least, have fun. Do not be anxious. Do not be scared. Do not feel like this is overwhelming. This is not a test for your life, sunshine. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be creative. This is supposed to bring out your creative juices and make you happy and make all that sensations run through your body. You need to relax. If it does not come out right, it's fine. Keep going until it do. It's all about trial and error. If it does not come out perfect, try again. My philosophy, my motto is called P2P, and that's practice to perfection. Although there's no such thing as perfection, but in my book, my Graphghan is Creative Stitching Diva perfection. So it may not be your perfection, but it's my perfection. And it's basically how I run my business, how I teach, and how happy I make those I'm teaching and those who are purchasing my products. As long as you all are happy, they are happy, I am happy. That's all. Creative Stitching Diva, Graphghan Queen. If you have any more suggestions or videos that you may want me to do, if you're having a hard time with something specific, or if you're just concerned or wanted to know something specific, hit me up. Let me know. Put it down in the comments below. Let me know what you want to do, and I will do it for you. If you want to purchase some of my graphs, that is in my Etsy, which is in the description below. And if you want to join any of my groups, that is in the description below. All of my sunshines to have a great and good day on purpose. Bye, sunshine.